What's going on, my friends? I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, and welcome to this week's episode of Stompbox Saturday. Today, we are taking a look at a very powerful yet affordable multi-effects processor in the form of this bright and shiny pink box called the FX200 Guitar Multi-Effects from Flamma Innovation. Housed inside this brilliantly beautiful, sparkly pink enclosure, or at least it looks sparkle pink to me, I don't know how it looks on camera to you, is a veritable powerhouse of an amp modeler and multi-effects unit. This is certainly not the multi-effects unit that I grew up with. This is decidedly a lot more and quite frankly, a lot better. We have a row of 4 foot switches at the bottom of the unit, which we have a down and an up switch to cycle through the multiple banks of presets available to us on the FX200. The first 50 banks of which are factory presets that Flamma has gone ahead and created themselves, and the other 50 are for you to do your best tone shaping with. Then at the far right, we have an expression pedal, which can act as either an expression pedal for some of the effects built into the FX200, or as a volume pedal when the EXP light is not lit up, which kind of takes some force to do. There, right here sitting, but with your foot and all your weight pressing down on it, it's gonna be a bit easier. Now, as far as knobs and controls, you can see that there's really not that much. All we have available to us is the master volume knob and the value rotary encoder. And essentially, the value knob can help you make some of the adjustments for the effects, the amps, the cabs, well, everything that you have at your disposal in the FX200. So how do you access that? Well, this part just so happens to be a touch screen, and you have all these different effects blocks that you can click on and browse through various different amps, various different effects, from overdrives and distortions and fuzzes to chorus, phaser, flanger, tremolo, lo-fi, ring modulator, boss, slow gear, and even different cabs, reverbs, delays, and there's so much you can do with this thing for the $400 price tag. It's pretty darn impressive, if I do say so myself. Now, we could literally be here for hours going through the different amps, cabs, effects, and whatnot that this thing has to offer. But the best way to get to know it is really to delve into some of the factory presets that come programmed onto it when it arrives to you. So without further ado, let me show you some of those factory presets, and we can sort of get to know how to manipulate those sounds later on. Now, of course, all those factory presets is not where we leave off with the FX200. You have an additional 50 banks after those factory presets to do your own tone shaping and tweaking. And let's go ahead and dive into how you do that. So basically, all you do is use the arrow buttons to scroll to any empty bank that you see available to you. 56B is empty, so let's go ahead and click foot switch B and get down to business. Now, what is awesome is that when you open up this grid, tapping on the screen, you can see FX, overdrive, amp, cab, effects loop, noise reduction, EQ, modulation, delay, and reverb. Now, if that's not the signal flow that you usually like your effects to be, don't worry. All you have to do, say I like my modulations in front of the amp, click on it with your finger and then use the value knob to sort of move it around the signal chain. Now, I do want to point out, when you get started, you're just greeted with that nice DI guitar sound. You want the amp on? Boom. Go ahead and click it and then start choosing your amp model that you want. Citrus 100 DS, but there's no cab on. So we go back to this grid, tap on the cab and turn it on. And you'll notice that the corresponding cab is loaded up as well. Now, what I love about all this stuff is that not only do you have an extra low cut to tighten things up, a high cut to mellow things out, you also have a space control, which doesn't really add on reverb. It just adds on a general ambiance to make it seem like you're hearing a cab mic'd up in a good room. Not only that, we have tubes that we can model. So it's on EL34 right now. Let's tap it and let's turn it off and we'll see some of the different sound. 6L6. An orange with 6L6s, interesting. 6V. Now, something that I think is really awesome, but you're only gonna have access to if you connect the FX200 to your computer, is that you can load your own impulse responses on it. Now, I've gone ahead and loaded a few of my favorites from my Lancaster audio collection. I'm gonna go ahead and put that 1960A blend on. Say we want to add on some reverb. Well, go ahead and double click on that and turn it on. You have spring, room, hall, church, plate, cave, and mod. For this, I'm gonna go with just the room. Now, one thing you can do is there are some global settings, and I've dropped down the input level quite a bit. Now, it goes in 10 dB increments, well, sort of. It starts at 0, then -5, -10, -20. I'm gonna go ahead and do exactly that. Get a little bit more to play around with running into those models. Now, of course, we've got some high gain stuff going, which obviously lends it to, you know, that classic high gain amp trick. So let's check out these overdrives. We have fuzzes, we have boosts, we have rats, we have clones, we have tube screamers. Let's just go with that 808, do the typical thing, full volume, no gain, and then tone to taste. That so much. Let's change it up. Maybe instead, let's go to this clean boost, which reading the literature says it's based on the exotic RC boost. Now, I really like the choruses on that. But there's the tri-chorus. We have analog flanger and jet flanger. I think we should try out some of these wahs because, well, why not? We have an auto wah, we have a 95 cry and a 535 cry, so obviously based on different models of Crybaby. It's a wah, so we want to be able to use the little foot treadle. Now let me show you how you do it. Now to get it to connect to the expression pedal, you're going to click this 4 icon right here, this 4 square icon. There we go. Now we have foot switch, pedal, and system. Now pedal is obviously this pedal. And you can actually assign other parameters to, say, your second expression pedal that you have an output for on the back of the unit, or you can calibrate it. Now what I want to do, instead of having this as a volume, I want it as an expression effect. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is assign it, and you can assign it to other blocks as well, whether it's a mod, a delay, so maybe you can adjust the level of the delay, but we want it for, you know, the effects. So now we have that engaged. Let's go to the Q. And you see that the different values are for heel down and toe down are the same. We need to change that. So let's go ahead. Let's just go from 0.3 to 5. Maybe what we need to do is go over here to the position.
48 hours later.
Nice, there we go. Cool, now we have a wah, and just exit out of that. It's already there, and you just kind of lean on it and turn it off. It's kind of hard to do it and make sure that your camera doesn't get all shaky, but there you go. Now we can do stuff like adding in the effects loop, but we don't really need to do that. But what I do want to add is some noise reduction. Now there are 3 different types. We have suppressor, reducer, and gate. I'm gonna go ahead and go to gate, and then I don't really know if this is supposed to be milliseconds, but I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the attack control is milliseconds. So let's just go with that and see what happens. All right, we're doing pretty good. Now we can add some EQ. Now these are some really great EQs in here, and I think that they're great for several reasons. One, the EQs that are available that already have frequency bands selected, it's pretty much your standard frequencies for guitar, from lows to highs. But my favorite is the 4-band custom. Now what this allows you to do is select 4 different frequencies that you can then boost or cut. This is basically what I want, to be able to fine tune the kind of frequencies that I want to take out or add in to the signal. So for me, I generally like to go, I'm gonna go, let's see, wow, that little movement really registered there. I typically like to shave out somewhere between 230 and 250. That just seems to be a frequency band that just kind of muddies up guitar for, well, most of my sounds, especially with the orange. And so I generally bring a little bit of that out.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Then we have ourselves delay, and there's quite a few delays on here: analog, real, tape, digital, ping pong, mod, reverse, dynamic, or a dual. That's right, we have dual delay, a la the Halo for Andy Timmons, but it's not exactly like the Halo. Nothing really sounds like the Halo except the Halo. Now what is cool is you can pan either side to the left or the right, You can even adjust that pan. Now I like hard left and hard right personally. You can set delay times for each side, or you can do what I like to do, and you can set subdivisions. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do a quarter note pulse on the left side, then go to the right side and select the dotted eighth note. I don't know, I think that would work. I'm gonna go ahead and up the level just a hair. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, yeah, that's all well and good, but at the same time, I don't want to have to change my delay time by going into a menu and sliding my finger and then not having some control over it. We can make one of these foot switches into a tap tempo foot switch. So all you gotta do is go to that 4-box icon, and then there's foot switch. There's 2 options, well, 3 really. Off, control, and tap. We want tap. So there we go. Now, I do want to make one thing clear, because this is something that I experienced when I was initially testing out, and even the first time I shot this video, and that was like, I set the foot switch to be tap tempo and it wasn't working. Oh my God, what's going on? Just take it easy. Let me tell you what you have to do to make sure it works. You have to use the subdivisions on the delays if you want to use the tap tempo. Otherwise, the FX200 is not going to have really any frame of reference of, well, what do you want to tap? So just make sure you have that going for you, and you should be just fine. But overall, we love the sound that we just came up with, so we want to go ahead and save it. Now, when we get to this grid icon, click that floppy disk icon. I just love that the save icon is still a floppy disk. And you can name it whatever you want. What are we going to name this one? I don't know. You know, we'll just call it Clever. Why? I have no idea, because I can't think of anything more clever. And there you're done. You have a preset saved. And you're good. It's saved and you can have a ball. Now, of course, this was just a very simple rundown of how you make it happen. There's so much more that you can do. And it's really just up to your imagination. So with that being said, let me show you some of the presets that I've gone ahead and created using the FX200. have it, my friends. That is the FX200 multi-effects unit from Flamma Innovation. I gotta say, this thing is wildly versatile and has so much more going for it than I initially thought. Not that I was expecting it to be bad, but I certainly wasn't expecting it to be as robust for its price tag. There are a couple drawbacks, though, with the unit that I do want to make clear right up front. The biggest drawback for me is that the expression pedal that's built into the unit comes after basically everything in the effects block. So when you turn it down all the way, you lose your reverb tails, you lose your delay and your echoes. When I swell into something, I want to be able to swell my saturation and my modulation all the way into those delays and reverbs, and when I swell out, I want to hear that decay still carry out. Maybe that's something that Flamma can fix on a future firmware update that I think would really make this thing an absolute no-brainer for me. Now, there are a few other things about the FX200 that I think could definitely be improved upon with either a firmware update or even something like a newer version as Flamma's technology gets better and better. I would like to see a little bit more flexibility in the input level rather than going down -5, -10, -20. Maybe just give individual increments to really fine tune that input level. And I would love to be able to have a left side cab and a right side cab in the cab simulation section. But can I recommend the FX200 to any of you watching this video out there? Yeah, definitely can recommend it. It's got a lot of great sounds in it, a lot of great functionality. I actually am looking forward to using this for remote content creation, loading up some presets, and if I go to a guitar shop, either a store or a builder friend, and I want to have something with a bunch of different sounds at my disposal to record some direct guitar sounds and get great consistent sounds, this might be what I bring along with me rather than a fully loaded pedal board that's, well, a lot heavier than this. But of course, all this is just my opinion, and I would love to know what you thought of the FX200. What amps are you most excited to check out or would you want to hear? And what presets did you like? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video in any way, I would greatly appreciate your support in helping me make better guitar-related videos for all types of players. There's a few things you can do, and the easiest is clicking that red subscribe button and ringing the notification bell. But there's a better way that we can stay more directly in touch, and that's by signing up to join my email club. Go to SeanPierceJohnson.com/email and enter your name and email address, and I'll send links to all my videos direct to your inbox and give you some ideas of what I'm gonna get up to later on this year. And I also have some affiliate links for Sweetwater, Amazon, and Sonic Cake pedals down in the description box down below. You can use it for your everyday shopping for strings, picks, or other oddities that you find on Amazon, or buy some pedals. It doesn't add any extra cost onto your purchase, it just gives me a small commission to help fund the channel and the videos that I make here. I want to say a big thank you to all of you for spending part of your day with me and watching this video. I greatly appreciate you, and until we see each other again, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all watching great tone, great health, and of course, happy stomping. Cheers, friends. God bless.